We'll be talking with Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center about health and healing your body without the use of drugs and surgery. I have Dr. Chapa here. I'm going to kick this on the FM, and we're going to have some fun. I got Dr. Chapa the elf here today, if you're noticing that. It's going to be a fun day. I'm excited. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. It's Kickstart, and I have my good friend Dr. Aaron Chapa here. Dr. Chapa, how you doing today?
Gardy, I feel amazing. Gardy.
Yes.
It's going to be a great day.
It is.
It is. I mean, how often can you come out on the radio, share health and wellness information, where we give people alternatives to drugs and surgery, where we teach people how to live better, be better, and stay better, one bite at a time, dressed like an elf?
It's like one time a year.
I mean,
it's just about one time.
It doesn't happen often, but those of you that are tuning in, those of you that are subscribed to our page, we are excited that you're with us. We're excited about, Christmas is upon us. Here it is. This is the week of. So it's very exciting at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center. Every year before the week of Christmas, I dress up like an elf, and I work on patients. I take care of little kiddos. I take care of moms and dads, grandpas and grandmas, and I have a good time doing it. And it is so fun to just see people kind of get shocked, shell-shocked, if you will. And because everybody, it's like deep down they want to dress up like an elf, but they just won't. You know what I mean? And but I think that it's just a part of lightening the spirit and lightening the load that most of us carry. We get caught in the hustle and bustle, the stresses of the holiday, and I'm always out to just find ways to just change people's space a little bit, help them aspire to be more than they thought they could, and appreciate the greatness that's within them. And I just want people to know that wherever you're at in your health journey, even though it's Christmas, even though there's sugar everywhere, even though there's opportunities to get derailed right here before Christmas, the week of, it's almost like, a given excuse to go ahead and indulge. You can, and maybe you should. I don't know. I don't know what you've been doing. I don't know where you're at exactly, but you can also make healthy choices to make sure that you're prepared for whatever indulgences you get in, and you can kind of be thinking about the indulgences you're going to be getting into and not completely poison yourself with sugars and artificial ingredients and lots of bad fats and bad oils. We know that even though the world kind of sells us this idea that it's the holiday and we deserve to eat garbage and poison our bodies, your body continues to operate and it continues to function. And it functions well if you take care of it well. It functions not so well if you choose not to take care of it so well. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about just getting ready for Christmas and getting ready for the detox coming up in January, and how to prepare yourself for this upcoming weekend and next weekend. We got two holidays kind of back to back with, Christmas and New Year's right up around the corner.
Mm-hmm. I have a question. Whenever people see you at the office dressed like this, if somebody is driving past you in the car and you are wearing this, does it bring a smile to their face? How do they react? Are they shocked? What's going on with that?
I get a lot of different responses. Some people are like, "Oh my gosh, what's going on here?" Some people think I'm a leprechaun. Yesterday I was dressed up in a green, my green elf costume, courtesy of my mother. She's personally sewed all these this attire. And, I mean, it's pretty amazing.
What kind of buttons are those? I'm looking at those. They look like they're seashells.
I know. Aren't they bad to the bone?
Yeah.
This is straight out of the North Pole, dude. These are North Pole buttons. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Those are nice. Yeah, I like it.
I really was digging them. And so I think people are genuinely, like, awesome. They need it, because, again, I heard patients yesterday telling me just they're caught up in the stress and the busy, and they're not ready, and they're it's like they're getting ready for something, but exactly what are they getting ready for? And was it did they enjoy the spirit of Christmas? Did they enjoy what it's about? Jesus Christ, and but can we have a little bit of fun in the process? Do we have to get caught up in the stress of it? Because it's been commercialized. It's a lot of different types of stresses that people experience this time of year. Some of it's just simply the stress of getting with family. I mean, you really, in a sad way, Christmas can sometimes bring the stress of strained relationships together, right? Instead of good relationships, bonding and celebration and just opportunity to check out for 2 days. There's the side of, oh man, I got to go see that family situation, or I got to go deal with that. I got to confront that. And again, life just keeps happening, right? The sun keeps coming up and setting in the evening, and we've got to face some of the facts of maybe I was sitting in a sermon just recently, and the pastor said, these hands have destroyed relationships. These hands have wasted time. These hands have hurt, circumstances. But in God's hands, these hands can restore relationships and restore time. And so I think that if we learn to change the narrative, we can change the dynamic for which we are out to serve our community and to serve, our fellow man, and to serve our families, and in some respects, honor in ourselves. I mean, there's greatness in all of us. Just do we perceive it? Mm-hmm. God designed you. He knit you together in your mother's womb. And so today, are you walking in that? Or are you saying, man, my hands hurt, my feet hurt, my body hurts? Have you been diagnosed with some sort of condition that you weren't genetically born with? Is your blood pressure going up? Are you having anxiety? Are you having some sort of skin issue? Are you having allergies? I mean, what's going on in your world for that you need help navigating? And at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, we're always out to figure out why and where and how the body's breaking down. We get together every week, me and my team, and we analyze cases. We're building on topics that are already familiar to us. Diabetes, for example, was the topic of yesterday, and everybody's very aware that sugar is a problem, but yet we continue to see people indulge in the very thing they know is poisoning them. And I think it's always interesting to me that people know what they should do. They just won't make those shifts and changes. They can't give up the sugar. And so we're learning ways to navigate the pitfalls of sugar indulgence. And no, it's not always avoidance, because avoidance isn't necessarily real. We got to get people to understand that there are other avenues to deburden the body where you will naturally crave less sugar. Doesn't that sound awesome? Mm-hmm. And we think to ourselves, what's going on with this, this onslaught of sugar, and where's it, why does it keep coming on? Why can't we break the addiction, the cycle? And so when we go into a case, we're listening for all the pitfalls that people are going through. Are they having trouble sleeping through the night? If you're not sleeping, you're not healing. If you're waking up and during the night to pee, if you're waking up during the night to stare at the ceiling, these are all indicators for different systems in the body to be breaking down. We can look at the blood work, and we can see correlations where there's liver stress. We can see where there's adrenal stress. We can see mineral decline, and we can find out why people's body is breaking down and then come in and serve them. So one of the things I like to talk about around the Christmas holidays, around Halloween, around Thanksgiving, around New Year's, because of the amount of sugar and anything that converts to sugar. It's not just table sugar, it's alcohol sugar, it's starchy sugar, it's processed sugar, it's grains that convert to sugar, it's too much fruit that converts to sugar. All these things stress out our bodies, and one of the things that I'm out to help people see is that if they just take liver support, digestive support, adrenal support, B vitamins for mitochondrial support, they would help their body deal with the carb onslaught, the sugar onslaught more effectively. So if you at least give your body some resources to handle the stress of the diet, then you might find yourself craving less. We use a product in the office called Cataplex GTF or Proglyco SP or Gymnema. These are 3 different herbs and nutrient combos that help bridge the gap between your cravings and you not having a craving. And so we can reset the beta cells of the pancreas. We can help the blood sugar cravings literally dissolve right before your eyes. We can also encourage patients, and we do encourage patients, to eat a little bit more fat in their diet, healthy fats, things like coconut oil, things like olive oil, things like butter, things to help navigate the what we call the metabolic logs on the fire. You see, fat has a natural satisfying effect. As you hit your tolerance, you won't eat too much. So fat has a self-governing intake parameter. You'll get an upset tummy. You'll feel overly full. You just won't eat too much of it. It's really a cool thing. But whenever it comes to sugar, man, we can overindulge. So if we can help you say, all right, well, if you're going to eat this, make sure you eat a little bit of, coconut oil with it or olive oil with it. Make sure you put these things on your salad. Eat a salad the size of your head for lunch. Let's find a way to make today a little better than it could be. Okay, well, I don't like salads. No problem. It could just be vegetables. I mean, if you have to have a starch, let's go with a sweet potato over a white potato. Let's try a purple potato. Have you ever seen a purple potato?
I don't think I have. I think I've heard of it. We've talked about one before.
Well, when you make mashed potatoes that are purple, the kids love it.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you can find you some purple potatoes, I always have to go to like farmers markets or Whole Foods or Central Market type places in order to find some of the non-common varieties of potato. I mean, there's like almost 100 different varieties of potato, but like we only have access in the stores to like 5 or 6. And so, but these still convert to sugar. So, but again, if you look at the nutritional density of white potatoes versus sweet potatoes versus purple potatoes, then you'll see a different nutrient profile. And that nutrient profile, although the starch part converts to sugar, still gives you a variety of nutrients that you won't get from just a white potato if that's the only kind of potato you consume. So it's just being open-minded to consuming different types of this variety of the same type of food. I mean, you might be surprised that a zucchini tastes as good as a squash does. You're like, no way. Well, if you think about vegetables, what I've learned about vegetables is they taste exactly how you flavor them. If you put a little salt on it, they taste salty. If you put a little bit of lemon pepper, they taste lemon peppery. If you put a little bit of garlic and onion powder on it, they taste a little bit garlic and oniony. And so you just find spices that you can palate, especially when you're new to the vegetable game. People say, oh, I don't like those. And most of the time, I find that when I ask people the question, hey, what is it about starches or vegetables do you not like? Because I have some patients that don't like potatoes. They say it's the texture. Well, if you have a texture problem, that means that you have a palate problem. So we all have an overindulgence or an overabundant palate in one arena. So you could have a palate that's too sweet laden, like meaning you just overindulge in sugar, and you just crave sweets all the time. But what happens is it derails your salt, sour, bitter palate. Well, if I can balance the sweet with the bitter, with the sour, with the salt, I can build you a savory palate. A savory palate. See, when you have the full, palate present, your texture issues go away. So people don't have texture issues; they have a palate issue. So we can come in and we can just start saying, all right, let's build up your minerals. Let's build up your zinc. Let's build up your salt ratios. Let's get your sodium potassium balance going and building up so that those cells are more robust. And as they bring in more nutrients, you'll actually have more clarity on what it is that you like about a food or what you don't like about a food. But we also just remember, hey, if there's a food that you don't like, especially with your little ones, 17 exposures to the palate, and all of a sudden they will start to appreciate the food. Ask the questions, though. Little Johnny or mommy or daddy or whoever we're talking to, what is it about eating, asparagus that you don't like? What about spaghetti squash that you don't like? People always tell me that they don't like these certain things, but if I cook it for them, they go, hey, that's not too bad. Well, I think that there is a place where experimentation with food, we've got to get back to that. We got to get people engaging in the food game and playing with food in the kitchen. Like cook something new. Like with a spaghetti squash, you might have to come in and cook 3 different types or 3 different occasions. Try a spaghetti squash. Try it, because the first time I always find people overcook it and it's too mushy. Well, it's a texture issue. They don't like the mushy. But the second time they undercook it, it's too crispy, and so it's or too crunchy, and they don't like the crunch. So okay, let's see what's going on with the if we go right in the middle and we find, do they like it a little bit more than crunchy but not mushy, or some people like it mushy, not
I like
crunchy?
it mushy. That's me.
Yeah. So I mean, and that's okay. I mean, so we all have a texture that we appreciate, but if we're okay with recognizing food as a fuel source, and we get away from this idea that it's got to be a certain way, we consume food as fuel and not always pleasure, especially the week of a holiday. When we know on Friday and Saturday that we're going to indulge in the pie, we're going to indulge in some sort of festive treat that we long for, make the whole week, this week, a week where you're like, okay, I'm going to cheat this weekend, so I'm going to eat clean throughout the week. Or if you're going to indulge something tonight or tomorrow, knowing that you're going to overindulge on Friday or Saturday on the holiday, eat a bite or a serving, a true serving. Because when you get into sugar just, it never really loses its law of diminishing returns. It's just always good. And there lies the problem, right?
Yeah.
Is overindulgence will get us in trouble. And so when we're helping people appreciate the holidays, we are just trying to help them stay focused on one degree of change. Hold the line. Make sure that you're putting in a variety of foods. Put in a little extra fat in your diet. Cook with a little bit, add a little bit more olive oil right before you serve the meal. Make sure that you're taking your supplements day in and day out. You're leveraging things like the Cataplex GTF or the Pro-Glyco SP or the Gymnema. If you've got a lot of sugar cravings and you just know, left to your own devices, you're going down, support your liver, support your GI tract, support your adrenal glands, and you will naturally be less inclined to indulge in foods that you shouldn't be indulging in. Now, it's a little bit trickier whenever you're traveling, and again, if you're traveling and you're away from your normal restaurants or your normal kitchen, then you've got to be a little bit smarter when you're out in the arena of food, because we still want you to eat and indulge yourself and have fun, but you just got to be, okay, do I need the full bowl of chips? Do I need the big loaf of bread? Do I need all that pregame stuff? And the answer is yes. Well, no, I'm just kidding. That tastes good.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always serve us well. So if you can still say, I want to like look to the main course as something to look forward to and nibble on all those little appetizers and things that they bring you.
I think you got to be mindful of it. I saw something the other day saying, hey, 1 tortilla chip is probably about a quarter of a tortilla. And so if you think about it, you're eating 10 tortillas before your food comes out. With some other stuff and chip, the salsa and that stuff may be better for you, but still.
And that is, I think, a perspective that many people just fail. For some reason, a chip it's not a quart of a tortilla. Oh, no, but you're right. It is a quart of a tortilla. And if you eat 10 tortillas before any meal, then of course you're going to be a little bit more, full. Your blood sugar is going to already be having to calculate, how much insulin do I need to balance this out?
It's just a mindless thing. It's a mindless snacking, and that's kind of but just being mindful of that and aware of the situation going into it. Hey, I'll have a little bit of chips. Maybe I want to enjoy my meal.
That's right. And at some of these restaurants, they will bring you out like vegetables that you can dip into salsas and things of that nature. Like I'm a dipper, right? So I like dipping, vegetables into sauces of sorts, and so I'll ask if they have cucumbers. I'll ask if they have just some fresh tomatoes. I'll ask if they have asparagus spears and not raw, right? And you can use those to dip in salsa and still get that little bit of salsa-y crunch that you're looking for. It's not. It doesn't mean that you don't indulge in the chip, right? But you're indulging in fewer chips, leveraging more nutrient-dense raw foods. And heck, I mean, if it's at like a Mexican food restaurant here in Texas, where we've got like the best Mexican food ever, you can just get guacamole.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and therein lies comes your healthy fat. I was watching a documentary, and in this documentary, they were spinning blood and showing, fat ratios based on types of meals that people would eat, types of fats that people would eat. So they had one, study where they had a guy eating partially hydrogenated fat, like bad oils. Partially hydrogenated fats congest and bog down the liver. There was a significant thickening in the serum of their blood compared to the avocado that the patient was eating. I mean, even butter is something that, I would say is good, had more fat in it than the avocado. But avocado and butter and partially hydrogenated oils are all fats. Well, not all fats are created equal. Not all calories are created equal. The nutrient density present in certain foods has a different impact on our biochemistry. And recognizing that food is medicine, food is fuel, we can then come in and start saying, all right, is this medicine for me? Is this fuel for me? Is this going to supercharge me? Or is this going to satisfy my rationalization for the bad behavior I'm about to indulge in, Mm-hmm. And are you able to more often than not walk past the donut? And if you're not, we've got solutions. Cataplex GTF, Pro-Glyco-SB, Gymnema. We're looking at things to help balance that blood sugar. If you need some B vitamins to help break down the carbohydrates, if you keep your B vitamins up, right now while you're overstressed, and why the all these sweet treats are surrounding us by the by the payload. So we indulge in more B vitamins right now. And when we use different types of multi-spectrum Bs that will give your body energy, you won't look for sugar either. So sometimes it's as simple as a nutrient deficiency. So what nutrient deficiencies do you have, and what are you doing to address that? Are you just relying on your food? Because oftentimes a lot of the food that people are eating are those not what we call sometimes foods or never foods, no foods. And when you overindulge in no foods or overindulge in sometimes foods, it can disrupt your nutrient load in your body, depleting you of certain key ingredients that you need, and now your immune system's taxed. Now you're more susceptible to the elements in the environment. The allergens start, getting you when they shouldn't, when the weather changes. And so, and here where we're at, I mean, it's been cold the last 2 days. And then I think it's going to be like 80 degrees on Christmas or something. And then it was rainy this past weekend. I mean, it's like we get 4 seasons in a week.
Yes.
I mean, it's pretty wild to me,
Yeah.
The only thing we don't get a lot of, unfortunately, is that beautiful sunshine that we all love so much. But, yesterday was gorgeous, and I think today's going to be another one of those. So, but it's an opportunity just to recognize one degree of change. So when we come into our Macrofix classes and we start teaching people about food, we talk about texture, we talk about the bitter palate, we talk about the salty palate, the sour palate, the sweet palate, and how to balance all of those things so that texture is no longer a major issue for you. We want you to come back full circle to food is fuel, food is medicine. Food can supercharge you to be the best you can be, but food can also derail you and crash you and make you sleepy. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm spinning my wheels. I can't get through the day fast enough. I wish I could just go home and take a nap. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And granted, maybe, it's the end of the year. Maybe you do need a nap. Maybe you've really put some time in, I'm still a fan of siestas, by the way, just, putting it out there. If we can get enough people interested in siestas. But the reality is we've got to get people interested in eating the right food and fuel so they have sustainable energy. That's what it comes down to. And we've got to, stop people from constantly skipping the most important meal of the day, breakfast, and we've got to get them in stimulating their metabolism and helping them to see the difference between real food versus fake food. And we are always, challenged to help people figure out how to get through a weekend, how to get through a holiday, how to get through a birthday celebration, how to get through, an anniversary. I mean, there's always in every week, in every patient's life, there is something that they can indulge in that's going to hurt them more often than not. And so it's not that you never indulge, it's that you choose, how am I going to make the week work out so that I can indulge in a meal? Because a meal here or there is not going to hurt you. It's the consistency over time of eating the wrong foods, sometimes foods, no foods, that begin to inflame the body. And when we look at a blood work and we start seeing high liver enzymes, high C-reactive protein numbers, and we're looking at those fires that are present in the body, the congestion in the liver, we start knowing, 1,500 potential pathways are being slowed down, sabotaged, and, if you will, burned up unnecessarily. And that all takes a toll on a person's overall vitality, their overall energy wave, their overall vim, vigor, and vip that we want so much to last throughout the day. And so helping people navigate that is not always easy, but that's why we need a coach. Everybody needs a coach. We all need each other. We all need the community of wellness as a mantra. So if you're not a patient yet, we hope that you consider being one, because we believe there's nothing that will help you as much as getting enrolled in a program, even during the holidays. As a matter of fact, it's probably better through the holidays because you got some accountability, and accountability is a huge thing. And so when you're indulging in this weekend, have fun, appreciate that, it's just for a day, not the whole week. So don't blow the whole week and retox, if you will, whenever we have opportunity to create balance. I think that the art of creating balance in your life during a holidays, run, if you will, helps you kind of with the mental aspects of value. You're able to practice walking past the sugar. So I went to we had our company party on Sunday, and we had some really great food. We had turkey, we had tons of vegetables, and we did have some cheat foods there. So I think it was some crab dip and some the artichoke dips and stuff like that. And
Molly brought it, didn't she?
of course she did.
Oh,
yeah.
my goodness.
What I will tell you, what Molly did bring, it was a Dr. Chapa friendly carrot cake. She just sent me the recipe this morning, and dude, it was awesome. And I'm telling you, I asked her for the recipe because I'm like, I want that. But here's what's interesting. Although I had a few slices of that because it was delicious, I also didn't take any home with me. Right? I was like, as much as I wanted to.
And people try and force, whenever you're at these parties, because wherever it is, they can't leave the food there. If it's somebody's house or a place's business, so it's like, okay, who wants to take some? They always try and send you, with some cake and the sweets.
Oh, we did the
delicious.
same thing. I mean, we had to-go boxes.
Yeah.
And so people were able to take home turkey. They were able to take home ham. They were able to take home veggies. And they took home cakes and stuff, right?
Right.
And we didn't have just Dr. Chapa friendly foods. I mean, some people want, their families and kids and stuff. So we recognize not everybody eats like we do. So again, having options and variety is fun. But again, letting it go. I didn't take any extra home with me. The good food that I took home with me, we freezer packed and saved it for later, if you will. The vegetables and the meats and stuff, and we're going to pull them out and just save cooking time down the road. And so that's a meal prep trick,
Mm-hmm.
If you do have leftovers that are good, and you overcook, or you go to a party and they offer you the goodie bag, man, if you're the kind of family that oftentimes just lets food sit in that little to-go box in your refrigerator until it goes bad, man, throw it in a one of those airtight freezer bags and throw it in the freezer, and then break it out the next week and just warm it back up, cook it back up, and it'll taste great. You can add new spices to it to kind of freshen it up a little bit. And I mean, I think that we just got to get back to recognizing how much in the form of vegetables we need and how little we actually consume. Because people just don't consume very many healthy foods day in and day out. I mean, they're eating way too much of the wrong stuff over and over again: chips and breads and processed foods. And so when we come in with a case file, we're not necessarily telling them they have to eat all these healthy foods. We're coming in and changing one meal, or we're changing a part of a meal, depending on where the person is in their gradient. But when it comes to this week, next week, coming out of the holidays of retoxing, that's what's basically happening right now. We're setting people up for success, knowing that January 6th, we have our detox kicking off. And detox is going to be one of my favorite times of year. I need a new costume for detox, don't I?
You do, yes.
I need to be like a superhero. Like, what kind of superhero detox guy could I be?
You'd have to be your own. It's like Dr. Chapa is the superhero.
I'm going to have to think that one through and see if I can find me a cool costume to model. And I'm like Mr. Incredible or something. That'd be fun. You could see me in tights.
That'd be nice.
It'd be awesome, right?
Yes.
Yeah, just scare my patients away. No, sorry, I won't do that to y'all. Don't worry, my wife wouldn't let me do it anyway.
Yeah.
So but we're going into detox. We have our kickoff on the 6th, and it's going to be a great month of detoxification with a group. So if you know that you need a community of people, there's going to be a community of people that are detoxing in the 21st century. Remember, if you're not detoxing in the 21st century, you're missing a huge piece of your healthcare program. We're going to be able to detox metals, chemicals, all kinds of trash and toxins that your body's been exposed to over the last year, and help your body get rid of those. For those that have been on my 42 days a year of detox, you're probably right in line with it's time to detox your body again. You're not going to have a whole year's worth of detoxification to do. You're going to have several months of detoxification, which is great because your body doesn't have to work near as hard, and you're not going to have the symptoms that people that only do it once a year or that do it rarely, if that. We want people to start seeing that detoxification, whether you do it in a 10-day space or a 21-day space, can change the dynamics of your liver, your kidneys, your bowels, your lymphatics, your cardiovascular system. It impacts everything about you. And so when we come in with different herbs and nutrients and liver support to open up the pathways, your body performs better. And then when it starts performing better, your mind is more alert. And when you're more alert, you're open to focus to change your diet for 10 days, 14 days, 21 days, however long you will make it, and press through the cravings and press through all that stuff that hurt us and sabotage us. You start to bring balance back to your body. Body chemistry and balance is the name of the game. I mean, we are a biochemical mess. I had a guy come in yesterday, and we've been working with shoulder issue. And it's been a chronic 10-year process that he's gotten into this boat, hasn't had it fixed. And it's been a little bit slow, but I found out during the process that he's been having some bowel trouble. And I didn't really think much of it because he's an exercise dude, and I just got into deeper conversation, like something's not right. He's not responding to the treatment that I thought he would respond. And I found out that he's putting bowel stimulants in, stool softeners in order to make his bowels move. And I'm like, uh-oh. I had no idea. I missed it because I didn't ask the follow-up question. I just said, are you having a bowel movement every day? And he says, yeah. Yeah, they don't ever say because I am
forcing it to happen.
Mm-hmm. And so I go, okay, here's the problem. All right. So I started him on a program where we started driving nutrients in, B vitamins, vitamin C, essential fatty acids, minerals into his body. We found a burden of healing in the immune box, and we found that he had a buildup of yeast. So his body's got this sugar overload problem, and he didn't even realize it because he thought he eats healthy. So we start, replenishment and restoring the biochemistry, and guess what happened?
What happened?
His knee pain went away, his neck pain went away, and his shoulder started to improve in a week's time. And I go, it just never ceases to amaze me that God made it as simple as food. Now, could he have had an injury that needed time to heal? Well, of course. I mean, that's not what he had, right? Because if it was an injury, so I had another guy come in who injured his neck, and he couldn't move his neck. He was like moving like a tin man, needed an oil job to loosen everything up. he needed a structural adjustment. That's what he needed. He didn't need the biochemical work as much. I mean, did he need the inflammation reduction support? Yes, but he didn't have the same problem that this other fella had, right? So your problem just needs to be assessed, and then a strategy, a game plan built around what that was assessed and decided upon as the root cause, or one of the first layers of the root cause of your challenge. Because it's like some of these patients, we're trying to turn the stones over to a point where we can find the honeypot, the source of where their inflammation's coming from. And yes, it could be their diet, but oftentimes it's an underlying infection. Oftentimes it's them eating the wrong food, like eating one food, and it's not always sugar, like wheat, dairy, corn, and soy. Oftentimes can inflame patients to no end. I've got tons of people that are allergic to corn or soy products, and we have to get them off of that. We have to help them see where they're getting into that in their diet. So we look at their food logs and determine what they're eating, because what you eat is important, but what you don't eat is more important. So we've got to help people just get past this idea that their food is get them to the point where they can believe that their food is affecting them, because we're just completely, I mean, I take it for granted that I eat as clean as I do, and then people don't see that they're eating sugar whenever I see their menu plan. So I go through with a big, red highlighter and show them, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm looking for. And when I start showing them over and over again with a red highlighter, it's like I'm grading their paper.
Yeah.
And nobody likes red ink on their paper.
And now that's brings back some bad memories, I think. School days.
Yes, school days.
Yeah.
But we are. I mean, we need to be graded. We need somebody to coach us and to see into our diet and what is it that we're eating. So, you could start your day with eggs and bacon. You could have, vegetables and a protein for lunch. You could have vegetables and protein for dinner. And if you stay kind of towards that as the crux of what you do, and then you sprinkle some of the other stuff around, I mean, I think that, biblical times, I think that they used bread as like a utensil. They weren't just eating gobbles of bread. And of course, their bread was very different quality of nutrient than we're consuming today. But that being said, they still didn't overindulge in it. The Egyptians that ate all the delicacies and processed foods had more cardiovascular issues and diabetes and shorter lifespans. So it just kind of makes you wonder. It's like, well, what are they doing versus these other people in tribes and stuff that we are observing and watching and paying attention to and study, that live a long time, that are on vegetable-only diets. And people go, there's no way I could be a vegetarian, no way I could do that. And I'm like, well, I get it, but what if you just need to add some vegetables to your diet, Don't
have to go full vegetarian, just add some.
And it's amazing. The body isn't like picky, right? It just wants a little bit of nutrition. And that's what's so fascinating, is that the body can be beat up at the level that it's beat up with the bad food choices, and it still perform at the level that it performs. Now, when you start suffering with symptom patterns, whether it's allergies, headaches, whether it's skin issues, fatigue, mental clarity problems, a loss of names, numbers, and words, where you're really just struggling in some of these areas, that's when you've kind of like tilted the scale the wrong way. You've tipped that thing in a direction that's heading towards a mistake, colossal, major destruction, health, autoimmunity,
symptom land.
Who wants to go there? You know what I mean? If we could avoid that place, which we should, we need to be learning how to go the opposite direction. We need to totally go into our day-to-day lifestyle and start evaluating, how am I sleeping? What's my water intake like? What's my food intake like? How are my bowels moving? Self-assessment. And I had a guy come in yesterday. It's like the week of all my men coming in telling me all their problems. And I'm shocked. I really am. Yeah. I said, how are your bowels? And they say, they're sluggish. They're not good. And I'm like, you mean you're not happy with your bowels? They said, no, I want to poop more. I'm like, okay. And so we have to figure out, what are they doing? And then we start talking about their diet. They're skipping meals. They're not drinking water. They're stressed out. And all these things add up to a problem that has to be addressed. And so we just start helping them get back on the track. Oh, it's the holiday stress. Oh, I'm still recovering from Thanksgiving. A month later, here we are at Christmas, and we're about to be in a pickle because we just had a whole month of derailment. I've got patients coming in that are immunosuppressed. They're still the long haulers of the COVID viral people. And we're finding that their vitamin C levels are too low. But they're taking vitamin C, right? That's what because everybody's taking vitamin C as a wellness vitamin. But the problem is they're taking ascorbic acid as their source of vitamin C. And I'm telling them, no, that's not the same vitamin C that God intended you to consume. God intended you to consume the complex C that comes from citrus, that comes from rutin, that comes from alfalfa. That we get this complex that's loaded with vitamins P, K, and J, tyrosinase, cofactors, bioflavonoids, and of course a little of ascorbic acid. You see ascorbic acid inside the full complex. If you mega dose one aspect of the complex, it's like building a spring too big for the watch that doesn't fit. So it doesn't allow the watch to run efficiently or at all. And so it can create problems in the overall system if you overconsume the wrong micronutrient in the complex. So we have to appreciate that ascorbic acid is not the source of vitamin C that we wished it to be. So when you walk down the aisle and you see 72 different varieties of vitamin C from 72 different companies at different dosages, oftentimes they're mega dosed. 500, I think, is the minimum that people can buy. I have products that are 17 milligrams. I mean, what if you only needed, about 50 milligrams of vitamin C a day? I mean, I think vitamin C is kind of like the sinner's curse, right? I mean, it's what we have to go searching for. And it's when God said you have to go work the land to get any value out of it. I think vitamin C is one of those things because the body doesn't manufacture vitamin C. So you definitely need it from an external source. But do you need 2,000, 4,000 milligrams a day? I hope not.
Just us as people that think bigger is better, the more, it'll get it done in a shorter amount of time. It's just like a mindset, because to me, I didn't know that. It's like, oh, yeah, that has the most. That's what I need. It's the best. That's what I would think.
I was listening to a documentary, and it talked about this guy that was consuming a whole bottle of zinc and vitamin C because he thought that would build his immune system up. A whole bottle? It was like vitamin C gummies with zinc. And they ran out of his favorite gummies. And I think really and truly when you go look at the labels of a lot of the gummies, they're just loaded with sugar. So he just found a different candy to consume. And it had some ascorbic acid, at excessive dose. And he was consuming the whole bottle. So he was like quadrupling the excessive dose. And then it had too much, zinc over time. That was synthetic zinc and not quality for his body's leverage and utilization. And to the point that when they ran out of his favorite, gummy, he started consuming denture toothpaste or denture paste because it had some added zinc in it. So he goes, that's got to be good enough. And he was consuming a whole tube of denture paste and until they got the stock back in. So that was his backup. And I'm like, oh, my gosh. So he went to the extreme. Like he's like, I'm gonna have the best immune system ever. Zinc is the magic formula. C is the magic formula.
Yeah.
And this was not a patient. I'm just listening to this documentary tell this story, and I'm like, okay, this is not gonna end well. And sure enough, it didn't. He had developed, excessive calcium oxalate kidney stones, and it was all because of the overconsumption of the vitamin C zinc gummies he was consuming and the denture paste he was consuming, and the fact that he had a stomach bypass. Remember, there's always more to a story. You can't just assume it's just one thing. He was also having a deficiency in B vitamins, so he couldn't run the processes like he needed to. And but again, excessive consumption of anything, like you said, isn't always better. It's consistency over time that we're hunting out the value of what we need. Now, is it possible that somebody needs a temporary season of 500, 2,000, 4,000 milligrams of a C? Yes, but in my office, we wouldn't just let somebody take 2,000 milligrams of vitamin C in the form of ascorbic acid. We're going to put in the complex with it so that they get the full complex, so the body's not robbing Peter to pay Paul from the body. We'd rather, hey, we're going to give you the complex as we push your body. So when do we use those high doses? When you have a cold, whenever you have a lymph node, whenever you have a fever and your body's really worn down and sick, then we might leverage some of that high potency C, but we're giving the complex in the background so that your body's not getting further depleted as it kills off one layer of infection. Or we come in and we don't even use C at all. We use something like my Congoplex, which when in doubt, we Congoplex it out. Why is that? Because Congoplex has the T-cell regulator support. By the way, Congoplex better be in your inventory when you travel. I had a patient go out of town, and I got an email that I'm sick. Did you start taking Congoplex? I didn't bring it. Oh, no. I mean, it's trouble. Mm-hmm. You don't have tools in your tool bag to fix your flat tire on the road, you're in trouble. Like, you've got to be willing to take a few things with you in preparation for what is the unknown, because you can't predict, the food that you eat and how it responds to your body. You can't predict the truth of traveler's constipation. When the bowels lock up, guys, the lymphatics back up, the body's immune system gets taxed, you're more susceptible to the ailments, and your body has a really hard time. If I can just keep people's bowels moving, they won't develop the cough. If I can keep their liver processing, their thyroid won't fall out of alignment. If I can keep their digestive tract absorbing, I know that they're not going to have a deficiency in key ingredient nutrients that they need to fire up a healthy immune system when they're exposed to a bug, or just to keep their logs, burning hot so that they feel good day in and day out. So it's a constant game that we're playing and helping people see that it's a balance. It's a balancing act. When is the game over? When we're dead. Sorry, you if you're going to live vibrantly all the days of your life, if you're going to maximize the longevity curve, that longevity curve has to be fed. You've got to have a intentionality in how you go about affecting your day and how you're going to plan out the next month, the next year. We're coming up into 2022. And do you have goals already in place that you're looking forward to hit, or are you already given up on your goals for 2022? Why not have a different narrative, a different story? I was talking to a buddy one time, and I was going through a trouble, and I was a little bit negative, and he goes, dude, you got to change your story. We got to rewrite that narrative. Because if you start listening to the negativity in your own head, oh, I never hit my goals. No, I can't accomplish that. I didn't do it last year. I won't do it this year. If you just have that pitiable mindset and that poor old me mentality, then yes, of course, you wouldn't expect much because you're not becoming much, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you want your life to shift and change, get under care. Come to Living Well. Let us be the best resource for your health and wellness needs in 2022. Get involved with our detox program and let us teach you what are the detox foods you need to eat more of. Well, how do you take these supplements? How do we help you as a beginner go through the process so that you're not having headaches and rashes and allergens and feeling fatigue and tired going through the process? If you're a veteran and you do it every year, but you haven't done anything else, and it's time to come back in, come on in. Let's see if we can't make this detox better than the last detox. What new food are you going to eat? We've enhanced our detox. We figured out ways to pull different types of nutrients or use different types of adsorbents, binders, to help pull more trash out as we're pushing it through the liver and pushing it into the bowels. So we've got better chimney sweeps, if you will, to go in and pull that funk and filth out of your body, because we're all exposed to it. Heck, I think we're more exposed to chemicals today than we've been exposed to in decades, and we have to trust that our body can navigate some of that. But there's a part that you've got to play, a part that you need to influence, so that you feel your best every day that you're in the game.
What's your favorite part of the detox season? January, 21 days. There's a group of people doing it. What's your favorite part of all of that?
I like watching my body go from so I feel pretty good, most of the time. I mean, I have my little ups and downs too, and I'm a biochemical process myself, just like everybody else. But most of the time, I feel pretty good. What I notice about detox is the mental clarity and the acuity and the sharp processing speed. Like, it is phenomenal. I mean, I feel my best eating, vegetables the first 10 days, maybe incorporating just one protein a day, my protein shakes twice a day, day 11 through 21. I like the mental clarity and the energy. I mean, it makes me feel young. It makes me feel vibrant. It makes me just want to, I could work all day and I still have energy at night. Not that it's normal to have like an exorbitant amount of energy at night, so I don't have an exorbitant amount, but like when it gets dark, you should be tired. I mean, you have a circadian clock. And I think I've gotten my clock so crisp that even like this morning, I mean, I woke up at 4:59. The alarm went off at 5, and I was like, that's crazy. I mean, it is, how do you wake up 1 minute before your alarm at 5 a.m.?
Are you the kind of person who's like, I could have got that one more minute of sleep?
No.
You're ready to go.
I am like, 9 times out of 10, I am, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I am ready to go.
Yeah.
I am a morning person. And but the cost of that is if my family's night owls and they're staying up late, come 8:30, 9 o'clock, my brain's shutting down. They're getting all fired up and wired up, and they're excited about the day. And I'm like, no, sorry guys, Daddy
Right.
checked out.
Right.
But some of that might be my lifestyle. I get up, I go to the gym in the morning, I have some quiet time. I have a space that I've created where I'm investing in Aaron. I read, I think, I pray, I work out, and I have therapy with my dogs. They take me for a walk in the mornings, and and I'm just walking in the cool of the morning. Like especially the last 2 mornings, it's been brisk. And you're just walking, and you just feel like your joints waking up every step. You feel your shoulders and your back and everything starting to move and to groove. And you just breathe in that fresh air through your nostrils, and you're like, oh, yeah, that's good oxygen,
Mm-hmm.
And it still might be toxic air, but, I mean, at the end of the day, it's cleaner and necessary and brilliantly designed to be put into the body and processed into what we need every breath you take. And so detoxification for me is the more energy and the more mental clarity that I get. I feel more creative on the detox. I feel like I sleep deeper, better. I sleep cooler. Just put a person on a detox at the beginning of the month, and they came in yesterday, and they said they're not snoring anymore. Their allergies are gone. Their energy is better. I had one guy that we put on at the beginning of the month because he's going to be out of town throughout January a lot. And he said that, his blood pressure dropped. He lost 15 pounds in 17 days. And I'm like, I mean, that's 1.5 miles of work his heart's not going to have to do anymore. Well, no wonder the blood pressure dropped. When you take 1.5 miles of work for the heart off its daily list, it's able to perform better, and therefore you don't get the blood pressure blow up. And that to me is phenomenal, that the body responds so quickly to the health and wellness changes that we push it into. And so I look forward to what detox offers folks, because detoxification has an opportunity to add years to your life. And if you're doing the 42 days a year of detoxification like we teach and share with folks, and we will be sharing at these classes, we will teach you ways to maximize the impact so that you get more out of the 21 days. I've always said that the Ultimate Detox program is 3 months worth of work in 21 days. I mean, who wouldn't want to invest in that? You're worth it is the theme that keeps coming back to me. I had a guy, send me a message yesterday that the Lord was showing him that people are worth investing in, that he is worth investing in himself, and so that he can be a better service to his fellow man that he's serving. And we have to remember that when we don't feel good, we don't perform good. When we don't perform good, we're not impacting our world around us. And so this holiday season, as you're getting ready to go into a family fun time, make it an experience. Like, change the narrative. Whatever is going on is typically a negative situation, see if you can find the silver lining or just rewrite the narrative. Show up dressed up like an elf. See what kind of response you get. See what the smiles look like. See the people go, I want to take a picture with you. People get excited because they're like, I don't see that every day. And so, I try to, lighten up the spirit for everybody that's live with us today, or even the people that come back and see us go, what is that all about?
I'm excited for whenever this plays in the office at Living Well, because these run, from the Living Well YouTube channel where they live. You can go back and watch them as well.
Right.
And it's just like July.
Yeah, it's July, and I'm dressed up like an elf.
And people are going to be like, what's going on?
That guy's crazy. Can't trust an elf, But anyway, yeah, you're right. I mean, that's really awesome that we can leverage technology that way. I mean, I think this year, I don't think we've missed, but maybe 1 week out of the entire year. I mean, we've had a pretty solid run this year, and I'm pretty thankful because whether Molly and Jennifer came or Jennifer and I came, we've had something fun to offer. We've had a few guests this year. I hope this next year we have some more guests. And I'm just looking forward to just continually sharing new ideas with people, because it really isn't hard. It's just a decision. I need to make my mind up that I need to try the keto diet. I need to try paleo diet. I need to try the, maybe start with our detox program. I'm telling you, even if the 21 days is daunting, if you're a patient under care, we can navigate you through the daunting challenge and task of you embarking on this journey. And it is an adventure. It's a great adventure. And we want you to, leverage to the hilt. So I'm just excited to see what the new year brings for you and your family. And I pray that, you guys have a great, wonderful time these next 2 weekends. But I also pray that you will prepare through the week so that you don't completely set yourself up for toxicity going into detox. I pray that you feel good at these holiday functions, and you're not passed out, sleep combed on the couch because you ate too much, because that's why that happens. And so as you're preparing for the week, just think about a little intentionality with how you're eating, what you're eating, how much you're eating. Make sure that you're staying with your clinical supplemental program. Make sure that you're getting your mindset ready. Order early your supplement detox kit so that you have access to it. Call us at 281-554-8600 and make sure that you're ready for detox when it comes. Because you're going to be a part of our Facebook group. There's going to be the live classes. There will be people that will start early. There's people that will start late. But the classes are there to give you support. The classes are there to educate you on the next level of how you can make it better. So Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center wants to be your number one health and wellness resource, whether you're dealing with a thyroid problem or digestive problem or an allergy problem. So we know that you can be a healthier version of you in the next 2022 year. And so I pray that everybody have a blessed week, that you'll have some fun. Leverage the Gymnema, leverage the GTF, leverage the Pro-Glyco SP. If you need to know what those are, rewind the track, but they're basically blood sugar regulators so that you don't crave food and you don't crave sugar, and it'll help you whenever you're faced with some of these extras that are presented to us, because they're everywhere. Trust me, I've seen them. And but have fun, be blessed, and we will check back in with you guys next week on the Living Well Show.
This is KHEA Radio 99.9.